Have you ever felt like something deep inside you is quietly suffocating, yet you can't quite name it? You look around, living your days, checking all the boxes, and still, a silent emptiness echoes within. What if I told you that the source of this invisible pain isn't somewhere out there, but hidden in the very space you inhabit? Yes, your home, this seemingly ordinary place, is silently reflecting your soul back to you every single day, and most people have no idea. The universe, in its quiet wisdom, never stops speaking. It uses symbols, patterns, and the sacred language of space to guide you back to your essence. But when we ignore these signs, when we live disconnected from the mystical currents moving through our homes, we drift further from who we truly are. That feeling of being stuck, lost, overwhelmed, it's not random. It's a message from your own spirit, longing to reconnect with the universe's greater dance. Today, you're about to uncover a truth rarely spoken. Your home is not just a physical structure. It's a mirror, a sacred space, a silent ally in your journey of awakening. And understanding the hidden energy of your space might just be the key to finally reclaiming your sense of purpose, inner peace, and spiritual expansion. Many souls wander through life searching for answers without realizing the universe is already speaking to them, through the very walls, objects, and energy around them. This video will reveal the mystical ways your home shapes your consciousness, and how small conscious changes can transform not just your environment, but your entire being. Before we dive in, a quick reminder. Many of you watch our videos but aren't subscribed yet. If this message resonates with something buried deep within you, if you feel that subtle call to reconnect with your true self and the greater universe, then make sure to subscribe to Celestial Truths right now. You won't want to miss the revelations we're about to unfold, because sometimes one small shift in awareness can open the door to an entirely new life. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover may change the way you see yourself and your home forever. There's an ancient truth that whispers through the corridors of forgotten temples and the silent pages of mystical books. Your surroundings are not random. They are, in fact, sacred reflections of your innermost universe. A home is never just a structure of walls and furniture. It breathes with the same spirit that moves through your veins, whispering stories of your spiritual journey. When a seeker truly looks around the space they inhabit, they don't just see objects, they see memories, unspoken emotions, and hidden fragments of the self waiting to be understood. And so spirituality isn't something reserved for distant realms. It starts here, in the simple gaze upon the familiar. The cluttered corner, the abandoned chair, the forgotten painting, they all speak in the silent language of the soul. When emptiness or chaos seems to reign in one's home, it's not merely a matter of aesthetics, it's a signpost, a mystical signal that the inner universe is yearning for attention. Carl Jung often taught that the external world mirrors the unconscious patterns that remain unresolved within. That feeling of suffocation in a cramped room, it echoes the unspoken fears crowding the mind, the sense of disconnection when walking through cold, sterile halls. It hints at emotional walls built out of forgotten dreams. Spirituality asks us to observe not just the stars above, but the homes we build right here on Earth. For in that sacred space, the universe has hidden messages, patiently waiting to be heard. Every corner of a house is a mirror, a symbolic altar where fragments of the unconscious are displayed without filters. The withering plant by the window, neglected and thirsty, mirrors the abandoned hopes within. The cluttered attic overflowing with forgotten items becomes a metaphor for memories left unresolved, wounds never properly healed. In the mystical dance between matter and spirit, nothing inside a home is meaningless. Each object carries a vibration, a secret chord connecting your inner world to the greater universe. This is why conscious living begins with conscious seeing, pausing to recognize how your external universe is shaped by your invisible longings, fears, and aspirations. For those who walk the spiritual path, a home is not just a place to rest. It's a living mandala, an intimate stage where the drama of individuation unfolds. The untended mess, the unwashed dishes, the unopened letters, all these are symbolic gateways into the unconscious psyche. They are not to be judged harshly, but embraced as messages from the deeper self. In the language of dreams, the house is often a direct symbol of the soul's current condition. How often we ignore these signs, lost in the noise of modern life, oblivious to the silent cries of our mystical interiors. Yet the universe, with infinite patience, continues to speak through them. The discipline of observing one's home with new eyes becomes a sacred ritual of awakening. It is through noticing the stagnant energy in a neglected room or the coldness of a bare wall that one starts to hear the soft murmurings of the self. When seen through the lens of spirituality, cleaning a dusty shelf isn't just cleaning, it's removing psychic debris. Reorganizing a chaotic room isn't just about order, it's about creating energetic pathways for the universe to flow within. In the mists of the mundane, the mystical awaits, whispering that transformation is always just one conscious act away. Imagine stepping into your living room and feeling it breathe with you, pulse with your energy, mirror your dreams back to you like a faithful companion. Imagine the walls as ancient scrolls, the floors as sacred ground, and every piece of furniture as an archetype representing a facet of your soul. This is not fantasy. It is the hidden reality, the spiritual truth that the mystics and sages have always known. When one approaches their home with reverence, with an awareness of the energetic bonds between self and space, the entire universe begins to respond, aligning energies, opening doors, weaving unseen connections that further the journey of the soul. The act of caring for one's home, then, becomes a mystical act of self-love. Every small effort, lighting a candle, arranging fresh flowers, opening a window to invite the wind, becomes an offering to the sacred. Through these simple yet profound acts, a deeper intimacy with the universe is cultivated. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. It's not about creating a magazine-worthy house, it's about honoring the temple of your being. Spirituality in its purest form thrives not in grand rituals, but in the quiet, daily devotion to the spaces we inhabit and the lives we build within them. And so, the seeker understands. Their home is their mirror, their silent witness, their unseen companion on the road to individuation. To truly transform one's life, one must first transform the spaces where life unfolds. With every object realigned, with every corner purified, the spirit is renewed. The house becomes a living prayer, a reflection of the cosmic order hidden within the chaos of existence. And as this understanding deepens, the sacred journey continues, naturally leading us to explore the next revelation. The home, not just as a mirror, but as a sacred space for spiritual transformation. There is a forgotten wisdom carried in the breath of ancient traditions, the notion of temenos, the sacred space, where transformation of the soul quietly unfolds. A true home is more than shelter. It is a living sanctuary carved out of the greater universe, a protected vessel where the dance between spirit and matter takes place. When one enters their own space with reverence, seeing it as an extension of their own spiritual body, silent alchemy begins. The walls no longer simply contain, they protect. The rooms no longer simply serve, they awaken. Every inch becomes a reflection of the mystical journey the soul is undertaking, whispering that life itself is a sacred ritual in progress. Each room, each corner of a home, carries symbolic weight, embodying aspects of the inner landscape. The kitchen, for instance, is not merely a place to prepare meals. It represents creativity, nourishment, and the alchemical act of transformation. The bedroom becomes the temple of dreams and intimacy with the self. The living room, a stage where the masks and personas of daily existence are exchanged. In spiritual terms, aligning these spaces consciously invites the universe to dance freely through one's life, strengthening the connection between the physical and the mystical. Without realizing it, every seeker builds a map of their soul through the architecture of their home. To spiritualize a home is not about aesthetics, nor about creating a space worthy of admiration. It's about weaving the unseen into the seen, allowing the soul's whispers to become tangible expressions in the world. A single candle lit with presence can radiate more true spirituality than an entire room designed for appearances. The universe doesn't respond to glamour, it responds to authenticity. In the hidden folds of your home's corners, true sacredness blooms when intention is planted like a seed. Thus, beauty emerges not from perfection, but from the resonance between the space and the soul it shelters. This sacred approach transforms ordinary gestures into sacred rituals. Sweeping the floor becomes an act of clearing mental clutter. Washing the dishes purifies emotional residue. Lighting incense calls the spirit back from the noise of the outside world. Every action, performed with heart, breathes spirituality into the space, awakening the mystical pulse that has always been there, waiting. The home ceases to be a backdrop and instead becomes a living participant in the seeker's dialogue with the universe. In this way, mundane actions transcend time and space, turning life itself into a slow, tender ceremony of awakening. Imagine the home as a hidden temple, one that only reveals its true nature to those who dare to look beyond appearances. The windows are the eyes through which the house gazes at the world. The doorways are thresholds between the conscious and unconscious. Even the light that filters through can become a metaphor for grace entering a life once clouded by forgetfulness. To treat the home as a sacred space is to acknowledge that spirituality does not belong solely to temples or distant mountains. It pulses here, now, in the quiet moments of existence, cradling the soul even in its most fragile states. In the teachings of mystics and sages, the universe is seen as a grand, living organism. By honoring your home as sacred, you align your tiny fragment of the universe with this greater living whole. You participate consciously in the cosmic dance, turning every object, every breath taken within your walls into a part of the divine tapestry. Thus, the home becomes a mirror of the universe itself, ever expanding, ever evolving, filled with the silent music of becoming. And the more intentional your relationship with your space, the stronger your connection to the vast spiritual currents flowing through all things. This mystical understanding gently shifts the way the seeker experiences their environment. No longer is a broken chair or a darkened room merely a physical problem. It becomes a symbolic message, a call to bring light and healing to some forgotten corner of the psyche. The sacred home does not demand grand changes. It invites humble awareness. It asks for a slow, steady weaving of presence into every act, into every object chosen with love. Spirituality grows naturally where authenticity flourishes, where the soul feels seen, nurtured, and safe, enough to unfold its wings toward the universe once more. And so the sacred journey continues. Having seen how the home can be a vessel for the soul's evolution, the seeker is now ready to venture deeper, to listen to the language the home itself speaks. For in its silent symbols, its chaotic arrangements, its serene corners, the universe has hidden another layer of wisdom. And those who dare to listen will hear truths long forgotten, awaiting only the reverent gaze of an awakened heart. In the unseen dimensions where spirituality and the unconscious intertwine, the universe whispers through symbols. Your home, though it may seem silent, speaks a language older than words, one woven into the very fabric of existence. Every forgotten object, every chaotic pile, every untouched corner resonates with vibrations from the soul's hidden chambers. The mystical truth is simple. There is no neutrality in the spaces we inhabit. Like dream images crafted by the unconscious, the details of a home are living metaphors, revealing what has been buried, what yearns to be healed, and what desires to be set free. A cluttered room often mirrors a cluttered mind, filled with unresolved emotions, old attachments, and fears too heavy to name. Just as stagnant water invites decay, stagnant energy in the home fosters emotional heaviness. A kitchen crowded with unused utensils, for example, may symbolize blocked creativity and a forgotten hunger for life itself. In the mists of spirituality, such signs are not punishments or flaws. They are gentle invitations to return to presence. They are the soul's way of reaching through the veil, calling attention to what has been neglected, urging the seeker to realign with the universe's flowing dance. When the energy of a space ceases to move, it mirrors a deeper inertia within the being. Dust settling on shelves is the dust settling on dreams. Disconnected objects strewn across the floor reflect aspects of the self that have not yet found their rightful place. The language of the home is mystical in its precision, offering a map of the unconscious landscape. Carl Jung often reminded us that what remains unconscious governs our lives from the shadows. To awaken, therefore, is to learn this symbolic tongue. To see the home not just with the eyes but with the soul's deeper intuition, consider the ancient practice of feng shui, not as a set of rigid rules, but as a poetic recognition of the universe's flow through space. To observe how furniture blocks a doorway, or how a dark corner remains untouched, is to notice where energy, and symbolically life itself, has been hindered. Every object emits a vibration, creating an invisible symphony that shapes your inner experience. When the flow is obstructed, the soul feels it as sadness, apathy, or unease. By contrast, when the flow is restored through conscious arrangement, spirituality becomes palpable in the air itself, singing through every wall and window. The mystic understands that disorder in the home often corresponds with emotional storms within. A tangled drawer is not merely messy, it is a reflection of thoughts tangled by anxiety, regrets tucked away without healing. To bring order to such a drawer is not merely an act of cleaning, it is an act of sacred restoration, a conversation with the hidden self. This is the profound power of symbols. They bypass the rational mind and speak directly to the soul. The house becomes a living mirror of the universe within, revealing in its silent language what words often fail to express. And so, the seeker learns to read their surroundings as one would read the pages of an ancient mystical text. A burned-out light bulb becomes a call to examine where hope has dimmed. A broken mirror may symbolize a fragmented sense of identity. A forgotten corner layered with dust speaks of dreams long abandoned. These are not coincidences, but signs from the spiritual universe, coded messages guiding the way back to wholeness. Each moment spent listening to this language deepens the soul's connection with the greater mystery that shapes all things. In practicing this sacred art of observation, transformation naturally follows. By honoring the symbols that arise in daily life, the seeker aligns with the flow of the universe, stepping into a rhythm that dissolves stagnation and restores vitality. Rearranging a neglected space becomes a sacred dance, a mystical offering to the soul's journey. Spirituality, then, is no longer confined to temples or rituals. It becomes a living presence, pulsing within the walls of the home, breathing life into the ordinary and revealing the extraordinary hidden just beneath the surface. Thus, as the language of the home begins to reveal its secrets, the seeker stands at the threshold of a deeper mystery still. It is not enough to recognize the symbols. One must also learn to shift the energy they reflect. For it is through conscious movement, through small, intentional gestures, that the spirit reclaims its rightful place, and the home becomes not merely a mirror but a dynamic vessel for transformation. And so the journey continues, beckoning us into the next revelation, how the energy of a space molds the consciousness of those who dwell within. In the vast expanse of the universe, where energy weaves unseen patterns of life, intention acts as the sacred thread that binds spirit and matter. Without intention, even the most beautiful space remains hollow, like a temple abandoned by its gods. Spirituality teaches us that it is not the appearance of a place that sanctifies it, but the conscious spirit infused into every gesture, every object, every corner. The true creation of a sacred home does not begin with decoration. It begins with devotion. Without genuine presence, rituals are nothing but empty shells, echoing across a barren inner landscape. When a seeker approaches their home with conscious intention, the very walls begin to hum with life. Lighting a candle becomes an invocation of light into the soul's hidden corners. Placing a simple stone at the entrance becomes a silent guardian, a reminder of the sacred threshold between the mundane world and the mystical universe within. Each act, no matter how small, becomes a prayer whispered into the fabric of existence. The mystics have always known. The universe listens not to the words spoken aloud, but to the silent music of intention resonating from the heart. Without authentic presence, the most elaborate rituals lose their potency. Burning incense, chanting sacred mantras, arranging crystals, none of these acts alone guarantee transformation. It is the sincerity behind them, the silent commitment to awakening, that ignites the true alchemy of the spirit. In the mystical dance between seen and unseen, it is the unseen, your heartfelt intention, that moves mountains within the universe. Energy responds to authenticity. The soul recognizes truth not by appearances, but by vibration. Thus, to spiritualize the home is first to spiritualize the heart. Imagine a room meticulously arranged, adorned with sacred symbols, yet vibrating with coldness because the actions were mechanical, devoid of true engagement. Now, imagine a modest corner, with a single flower placed with love, a candle lit with gratitude. Which space do you think resonates deeper with the universe? Spirituality, true spirituality, lives in authenticity. The universe does not seek grandeur. It seeks coherence between action and soul. This is the mystical secret often forgotten. It is not the ritual that sanctifies the soul, it is the soul that sanctifies the ritual. In the language of the cosmos, intention is the seed from which all transformation blooms. Carl Jung understood this profoundly when he spoke of the power of symbols to mediate between the conscious and unconscious. A sacred home, aligned with true intention, becomes a living bridge between the ego and the deeper self, between personal existence and the vast breathing spirit of the universe. Every conscious act performed in your space weaves a thread back to your center, reconnecting you to the mystical pulse that underlies all life. And so, the seeker learns. Every choice matters. The way you fold a blanket, the way you arrange your desk, the way you greet the dawn through your window, each is an opportunity to weave intention into the fabric of your day. It is not perfection that the universe asks of you, but presence. Even the smallest act, when performed with sacred awareness, ripples out into the greater web of existence, strengthening your bond with the cosmos, deepening your journey into the rich mists of spirituality. Presence is what transforms a house into a living mandala of the soul. When you move through your space with awareness, your home breathes with you, dreams with you, grows with you. It no longer serves merely as a shelter. It becomes an ally, a mirror, a vessel for your becoming. Intention, then, is the sacred fire, the invisible artist shaping the unseen dimensions of your life. To live without it is to drift like a leaf in the wind. To live with it is to sail in rhythm with the deep currents of the mystical universe. And thus, as the seeker deepens their understanding of intention, they naturally prepare for the next stage of their journey, recognizing that even the simplest acts of cleaning and organizing, when performed with sacred presence, become profound rituals of healing. The mystical dance between soul space and universe beckons once more, guiding the seeker into even deeper waters of transformation. In the secret language of the universe, healing is rarely loud. It moves through whispers, through subtle gestures, through the seemingly mundane. Cleaning and organizing your home, acts so often dismissed as chores, are in truth ancient rituals of purification. Spirituality teaches that matter and spirit are not separate, but intricately woven together. Thus, when the seeker sweeps away dust, they are not merely tidying, they are dissolving old emotional residues clinging to the soul. Every surface wiped, every object realigned, echoes a mystical realignment occurring deep within the unseen chambers of the heart. To clean with consciousness is to enter a sacred dialogue with your own unconscious. The forgotten piles in the corner, the chaotic drawers, the dusty bookshelves, they are not accidents. They are symbolic extensions of inner parts left unattended, dreams abandoned, wounds left to gather cobwebs in the shadowy corridors of the psyche. As Carl Jung taught, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. In this mystical perspective, every act of cleaning becomes an act of bringing light into darkness, of reclaiming fragments of the self, lost in the mists of time. Organizing, too, is far more than the arrangement of objects. It is the sacred act of creating order within, the inner universe. When you find a proper place for each item, you mirror the soul's desire to find wholeness amidst chaos. The forgotten journal rediscovered, the necklace carefully placed in its rightful box. These are small but potent acts of individuation. They symbolize the deep longing of the spirit to harmonize its scattered aspects, to move from fragmentation to unity. The house becomes a living metaphor for the soul's journey from confusion to clarity. When the seeker approaches, cleaning and organizing with reverence, the process transforms into a mystical ceremony. Lighting a candle before beginning, playing music that lifts the spirit, offering gratitude for each object before releasing it. These simple additions infuse the mundane with sacredness. The act itself becomes a moving meditation, a prayer carried not by words, but by presence. In these moments, spirituality ceases to be an abstract idea and becomes an embodied experience, resonating through the body, the home and the very ether of the universe. Consider the symbolic power of releasing objects that no longer serve you. Each item you let go of carries with it a story, an energy, a piece of your past. Holding on to broken or outdated possessions often reflects an inner fear of change, a clinging to obsolete versions of the self. By consciously releasing them, you affirm your readiness to evolve, to make space for new energies, new dreams, and new spiritual alignments. It is a ritual of death and rebirth, a microcosm of the soul's eternal cycle within the grand design of the mystical universe. Even the simple act of making your bed each morning carries profound symbolism. It is a daily affirmation of order, of self-respect, of readiness to face the day with clarity. Small acts, when infused with sacred intention, ripple outward into the greater currents of life. The universe responds not to grandeur, but to authenticity. Spirituality thrives in these hidden moments where no one watches, but where the soul chooses to honor itself through conscious action. In this way, the home becomes a living altar, and every task becomes an offering to the sacred. Through the healing rituals of cleaning and organizing, the seeker also learns compassion for the self. It is not about achieving a sterile, flawless space. It is about engaging in a loving conversation with one's own evolving being. Some days, the house will mirror chaos, and that is part of the mystical ebb and flow of existence. Other days it will reflect harmony and light. The key is not judgment, but awareness. Each interaction with the space becomes a mirror, reflecting back the deeper dance between surrender and creation, between the known and the unknown. Thus, by honoring the sacredness hidden within everyday acts, the seeker deepens their journey of individuation. The house, once seen as a backdrop to life, is now recognized as an active participant in the soul's evolution. And as the spirit lightens, freed from the weights of stagnation, a new horizon opens, inviting the seeker to recognize how their home becomes not just a mirror, but a loyal companion, a true ally on the path toward spiritual expansion. In the great unfolding of the soul's journey, individuation is not a destination but a continuous dance, a sacred spiral inward and outward through the universe. Your home, often seen as a mere backdrop to this process, is actually a living participant, a mystical ally walking beside you through every threshold of transformation. Spirituality teaches that every external reflection holds a key to inner revelation. Thus, the spaces you inhabit are not passive. They are dynamic mirrors of your evolving self, resonating with the silent music of your becoming, offering guidance, support, and sometimes even challenge. As you shift and grow internally, your home naturally reflects these shifts back to you. An urge to redecorate, to declutter, to move furniture, or even to relocate entirely. These impulses are not random. They are the universe's subtle way of signaling that something within is ready to expand, to realign with a deeper layer of truth. Carl Jung spoke of individuation as the process of integrating all aspects of the psyche into a coherent whole. Your home, in its constant evolution, becomes a visible testament to this invisible process, a sacred landscape charting your soul's unfolding journey. Changes in the home often mirror pivotal transformations within. Long-neglected room that suddenly calls for attention may symbolize a forgotten aspect of yourself ready to be reclaimed. A space once filled with heavy, outdated objects may now feel suffocating because your spirit has outgrown old identities. Spirituality invites you to listen to these signs, to treat them with reverence, as you would treat dreams filled with potent symbols. In this sacred dialogue between you and your home, the universe whispers reminders of your hidden wholeness and urges you to step into fuller alignment with your cosmic blueprint. The mystical journey of individuation often demands that the seeker confront the shadow, the aspects of the self that have been denied, repressed, or unloved. Your home participates in this confrontation. The cluttered closets, the broken items tucked away, the spaces you avoid, each reflects a part of the psyche awaiting integration. Cleaning, reorganizing, or even facing these neglected areas with love becomes an act of shadow work. Spirituality teaches that the light expands only where the darkness has been consciously embraced. Thus, transforming your home becomes a sacred mirror for transforming your inner universe. Imagine your home as a trusted companion, a guardian spirit, silently shaping and responding to your energy. When you meditate in a dedicated corner, when you place a meaningful symbol by your bed, when you create beauty out of simplicity, you are not just decorating, you are entering into sacred covenant with the mystical forces that govern transformation. Each room becomes a chapter in the great story of your individuation, each object a word in the sacred language your soul is writing alongside the universe. To honor your home is to honor your journey, your pain, your dreams, and your infinite potential. In the quiet moments when you sit surrounded by familiar walls, notice how the energy feels. Does it uplift you or weigh you down? Does it mirror your highest aspirations or your deepest fears? The inner house, like a wise old friend, holds up a mirror without judgment. In its silence it reveals where love is needed, where healing must occur, where the soul longs to dance more freely with the universe. Spirituality flourishes when the seeker sees beyond appearances and recognizes the living pulse of the sacred, even in the stillness of a seemingly ordinary room. Through each small act of renewal, repainting a wall, refreshing a sacred corner, opening a window to let the morning light flood in, you reinforce your commitment to your own becoming. The mystical journey is not linear. It spirals, it loops, it weaves through countless dimensions of being. Your home, when treated as an ally, supports this complex, beautiful unfolding. It offers stability when the outer world trembles, sanctuary when the soul tires, and inspiration when the spirit calls for new horizons. In this sacred bond, the universe smiles and draws you ever closer to your true self. And so, the seeker comes to understand. The home is not a static entity, but a living field of energy, evolving as the soul evolves. Every change made in love, every act of conscious care, brings you into greater harmony with the vast, breathing cosmos. Having embraced the home as an ally, the path opens once more, revealing that transformation does not stop at the individual, for the sacred energy cultivated within extends outward, touching all who enter, weaving threads of silent healing into the collective spirit of the universe. In the vast interconnected web of existence, no action, no vibration, no breath goes unnoticed. The energy you cultivate within your home, though it may seem private, radiates outward, weaving unseen threads into the collective fabric of humanity. Spirituality teaches that we are not isolated islands, but luminous nodes within the mystical network of the universe. Your home, charged with peace or turmoil, becomes an energetic beacon, sending silent ripples far beyond its physical walls. In ways subtle and profound, your inner sanctum contributes to the psychic atmosphere shared by all beings. When you walk into a space that radiates warmth, authenticity, and love, you feel it instantly, even if no words are spoken. This is the silent language of energy, more ancient and universal than any spoken tongue. Likewise, those who enter your home, friends, family, strangers, are touched by the vibrations you nurture there. A house anchored in serenity becomes a wellspring of healing, a quiet temple offering sanctuary not only to yourself, but to every soul who crosses its threshold. Thus, spirituality reminds us, the work you do within yourself and your home is not selfish. It is an offering to the universe. Even when no one visits, the energy you hold reverberates outward through the subtle fields that connect all life. Carl Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, that great reservoir of shared symbols, emotions, and patterns beneath individual awareness. Your conscious choices to cultivate peace, to honor beauty, to heal stagnant spaces, send silent messages into this collective sphere. Your home becomes a transmitter of hope, a lighthouse for wandering souls who, though they may never meet you, are touched by the vibrational echoes you help create within the universe. This understanding reveals a mystical responsibility. Every act of clearing, every gesture of love, every moment of conscious presence contributes not just to personal healing, but to collective evolution. Spirituality thrives where individual and collective growth are seen as intertwined, where the transformation of one soul uplifts the many. Your home, then, is not just your private world. It is a living participant in humanity's unfolding story, an energetic prayer woven into the sacred tapestry of existence. Imagine the collective unconscious as a vast ocean. Each peaceful home is like a drop of pure water, clarifying and uplifting the whole. Every conscious act within your space strengthens the larger current, moving toward healing, expansion, and deeper connection with the mystical universe. When despair, fear, and fragmentation dominate the collective, your sacred home stands as a silent rebellion, a mystica fortress of light in a world often shrouded in shadows. The work done within is the seed of greater transformation without. There is a sacred humility in recognizing that the smallest choices ripple across the unseen worlds. A candle lit with intention, a room cleared of heavy energy, a meditation performed in the early dawn. These are not insignificant acts. They are offerings placed upon the altar of the collective soul. The universe notices. The universe remembers. Spirituality is not about grand gestures witnessed by many. It is about the unseen acts of devotion that quietly reshape the psychic architecture of the world. Through this lens, tending to your home becomes a revolutionary act of love. It becomes a conscious commitment to not only your own expansion, but to the healing of all beings who share this cosmic journey. You do not have to preach, convert, or lead armies. You simply have to become a guardian of sacred space, a silent weaver of peace into the fabric of the human spirit. In this way, the universe sings through you, and your life becomes an unwritten psalm carried on the winds of time. And so the seeker, having honored the home as a mirror, a temple, a healer, and a companion, comes to see the final revelation. Their inner work is never solitary. It reverberates across dimensions, echoing into the heart of the collective. With this sacred awareness, the journey of transformation deepens, and the universe, ever generous, prepares to unveil the next chapter of awakening. Now, I want to hear from you. After everything we've uncovered today, how do you feel your home has been silently shaping your inner world? What's the first small change you feel called to make to realign your space and your spirit with the universe? Share your reflections in the comments below. I read every one of them, and I'd love to know how this journey resonated with your soul. And if you found this message meaningful, don't forget to subscribe to Celestial Truths and turn on notifications. It's the best way to stay connected and not miss the next steps on your sacred journey of awakening. If you're ready to dive even deeper into the hidden forces shaping your life, stay tuned for the next video appearing on your screen. It will take you even further into the mysteries of your soul and the universe. Until then, keep listening to the silent wisdom around you. This is Celestial Truths, your guide through the mysteries of the universe. See you in the next journey.